I'm Tass Mellis of The Starters.
This is Ben Golliver with the Open Floor Podcast.
Hi, I'm Kristen Ludlow from NBA Inside Stuff.
I'm OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors.
Hey, I'm Elena Donan, and welcome to the Double Clutch.
Double Clutch.
Double Clutch
Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Double Clutch NBA podcast presented by NBAstore.eu, where you can get 15% off all kinds of different things by using our code DCPod15. I am your user host, Matthew Wellington, and I'm joined tonight once again, and for the first time this season for me, by Mike Miller.
Hello. I was going to say usual. But yeah, welcome back from your load management.
Load management. I'm still undermining in the background, trying to bring down the double clutch from within. That's what I do all the time. And I'm also joined by Tom Hall, who I've never podcasted before with. So, hello.
Hello, you're right. Just recording from a very, very cold room in Stoke-on-Trent. So I'm just hoping the computer or myself don't freeze midway through.
Oh, well, that's a little bit of a step up from Hugh Hopkins, who likes recording in Safeway's car parks or something.
Was it Safeways now? I thought it was a school because he got kicked out when it closed.
Yeah, that was even creepier. So
like mid-podcast, or?
Yeah. And he recorded the podcast in his car. That's dedication. But I'm complete opposite to you. I'm in an absolute sweatbox right now and really regretting wearing socks and joggers.
So this is the life of an NBA podcaster. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been nice to have a couple of weeks off from podding. Oh, I say that I did help out with some editing the other week, which was getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, there's been a lot of NBA and stuff to catch on recently. The website doubleclutch.uk has had some fantastic articles go out recently. Tom, you wrote something about what was going on with the Warriors, and we're probably going to get onto that a bit in a minute, and some other key points that you picked out of the start of the season in week one. Hugh's been doing content. Justin's been carrying on with his expansion pieces. There's another one of those due out at some point in the next few days, and Will Borch has been doing some stuff on the site as well. So just a big thank you to people who are still contributing to the site, which we really, really appreciate it. And hopefully me and Mike will end up with stuff up there at some point in the season. when we're not doing podcasts. But the season guide and stuff went down pretty well, I think. Seemed to have a lot of good feedback on that. Also season preview had a lot of good feedback. So yeah, it was always a lot of hard work, but we get there in the end, don't we?
Just about, yeah.
Just about. Okay, so the last week's been a bit chaotic. We'll just do sort of a quick run around. I've picked up a few points, and then we'll move on and discuss what's going on the West Coast and the East Coast in a bit more detail. The Los Angeles Lakers are currently 5-1, and the league's most annoying franchise won't shut up about it. If you log into Twitter every day, all you see is, we're winning the championship, which is a little bit annoying. I like to think I'm a quieter Lakers fan. I don't tend to get
I thought you were a Blazers fan. I thought you'd left.
Am I a Blazers fan now?
No, you went back when AD signed, didn't you?
I do not jump around teams. I cover all 30. That's the way it works. The Boston Celtics are 4-1, but their fans are still coming up with three-way trades, which doesn't make any sense. I saw Mo and Josh and a few other people going back and forth about some tweets that were going on Twitter early on this afternoon. Ross McLeod's Phoenix Suns are 4-2 and currently in a playoff spot. I don't think anyone saw that coming after 6 games. Luke Walton has blamed India for the Kings' slow start to the season, which is a strange one, but it kind of makes sense considering they did a preseason tour there, or they played a game, which, obviously really taxing on them. Pascal Siakam is averaging 26 points a game, and he's shooting 49%, 42%, and 96% from the field, which is quite scary. A cage match broke out the other night in Philly, which was really interesting to watch, between Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns. Ben Simmons in there trying to sort of choke someone out as well, there was a tap out. I'm assuming everybody saw it because the whole internet was alight the next day. This is the debate. Was he actually trying to harm him, or was he just holding him down?
That was definitely like a full-on chokehold. But then the league came out and said he was a peacemaker or something ridiculous.
I don't think it was a full-on chokehold.
Be careful what you're saying here, because we know you're a very anti-Australian.
And me? No, I thought he was a peacemaker. I'll take that. I don't think he was tapping out either. It's not like they signed up to a certain set of fight rules beforehand, and then Cat's trying to enforce the ability to tap out. Like that rule doesn't exist. No, he wasn't tapping out. He was just frustrated, I think, is the only word I can use on the pod.
Yeah, the funny thing is, it all sort of just came to a head because of I think Cat touched him, or Embiid flicked Cat's arm or something at one point, and obviously that was
is
really
that
offensive.
Is that the picture of the single finger on his forearm?
Yeah. And it's just, it's like, what on earth has happened to these guys? But it had been going on for a few weeks. They've been talking in the media about whether, like, I know Cat had been asked if he had kept an eye on what Joel was doing in the Eastern Conference, and he said he didn't really pay attention to that. And it's something that's been going on between these two for a while. But good to see them both having outstanding starts to the season, really. And everyone's beloved Houston Rockets gave up 158 points to the Washington Wizards the other day. They then lost to the Nets, and then they got absolutely drubbed by the Miami Heat the other night. So good start to the season for James Harden and co. But yeah, the NBA the last week has been pretty mental.
And most of that happened on the same night as well, didn't it? So the Rockets Wizards game,
mad.
Steph getting injured, and the fight and all that. Just kind of woke up on the following morning and didn't know what to do with myself. My phone was blowing up all over the place.
Are you one of those people who has notifications off for the NBA, or do you kind of wake up and have like 25 notifications from Bleacher Report?
I keep the scores off, but then all the tweets and stuff, I'm game for them. So I spend half an hour in the following morning kind of catching up on what's happened. So what turned into 3 hours on that day.
Yeah, I've always found that's quite difficult. Is you hide from the scores, but then like you might accidentally see something pop up on Twitter or something, and that's it. Your whole day is ruined. So unless you leave your phone in airplane mode, you're going to struggle. But with the amount of games that take place during the regular season, I think it's almost impossible to sort of avoid everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
you got to do
especially if you're waiting until like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening to watch some of these games, or you just do a mic and watch everything on the commute, which works out quite well.
Yeah, I've already complained to League Pass though, because their window for turning around
6 games in.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that. I think it was after about 2 or 3. It is the fact that I let them have opening night off, because that's fine. I get it. You're new, you're back, but how long does it take to make a game available to be downloaded? Because when I get up at 5 in the morning, I want to be able to download games to watch on my 2-hour commute in. I don't need to be sat there going, it's now midday and I still can't download these games. It's like, really? All you need to do, like, they have things that, all the condensed games, that's all automated. That's not something someone manually edits. How hard is it to have it run some code where it goes, oh, I've edited it and now I've uploaded it on every single version of the game? Sorry, rant over. I did email them about something else yesterday as well, but that's another story.
I remember having that conversation with you on Slack, actually, because I went up to Yorkshire the last week for one of my best mates' 30th birthdays, and I was trying to download some stuff to come back on the train, and it just wasn't letting me download anything, and I was like, why is nothing available? Because for me, that isn't something I've traditionally done. I've never had to like download a game because I didn't realise how patchy EE's mobile signal is in the Midlands. You'd think it'd be pretty good around there, but it obviously isn't.
Yorkshire's not the Midlands.
No, but I have to get the train through the Midlands to get to Yorkshire. Right. That's how it works.
Okay.
But I normally just stream games straight to like the tablet or whatever. But unfortunately, I had to go through the rigmaroles of downloading, and it wasn't a fun process. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I need League Pass in my life. I just wish it was a little bit better. Well, that was the thing yesterday. Why? You've all got League Pass, so you've all checked it on your mobile devices. Why does it automatically go to mobile view and tell you that's your preferred view type?
And you can see like
but
one
not
player.
give you the option to change. Yeah, that's what I emailed about them. I was like, fair enough. You default it to that. It makes sense as a mobile device, but you've told me it's my preferred option, giving sort of the air that I might be able to change it. And yes, I can't. And they took it and fed it back because they're going to look into it because it's not right apparently. But yeah. So if you get it and you can change your default viewing from mobile view to normal, view where you can see more than one person, you'll have me to thank for it.
It's Kyrie Irving cam, isn't it? That's like literally you watch the Nets games, you literally just see Kyrie Irving and nobody else.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a fan of it. I get the idea, and with people's attention span or younger people's attention spans these days, I can understand why you choose to sort of focus on where the main action is. But for quite a few of us, we quite like watching where other people are on the court. So,
but then there's the flip side of that with the game recaps that are just flipping horrendous. And it's like most of the time you'll watch it and you're like, let's jump into midway through the fourth quarter, and it's like you've missed an entire game and you get like 3 baskets. Just like horrendous. It's either that or the condensed games that last for about 15 minutes. Just like not a good
with
watch.
no context.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a bit varying in length as well. You either get a condensed game that's 8 minutes long, or you get a condensed game that ends up being 20 minutes
Every
long.
single basket.
There's no set, or the final 2 minutes of a game take half an hour, which we've discussed many times on this podcast. The players of the week were just announced as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo, player of the Eastern Conference, and Anthony Davis in the West. Unsurprising, really, considering he had 40 points the other night, which was ridiculous and a pretty strong start to the season. But anyway, we'll move on. We're going to just discuss the West Coast, and then we'll go on to the East Coast. We've got the Warriors' defensive struggles to talk about first. Steph Curry is obviously out with a broken hand. Still wishes he's still saying he's going to play in the Olympics, which is cool. But the question now remains: what do the Golden State Warriors do for the rest of this season? They've not been doing very well, have they, Mike?
No, but what do we expect? I mean, I expected them to be a playoff team, but they have been decimated by injuries, and it's just not feasible. I'm pretty sure it was Steve Kerr, and I can't remember when he said it, but when it might have been straight after the final, they asked him what he could do differently or something like that, and he was like, "Can I just have the whole club have the next season off?"
Yeah.
Because
they've played a lot of basketball.
The last 5 seasons, Mike Tuck said it on the pod last week, five seasons straight in the finals, that's at least another season's worth of games under your belt. The wear and tear, I mean, maybe that's why we've seen these injuries come out, because, and I know that Steph's was a freak hand injury, not necessarily a repetition thing, but maybe he was compensating somewhere else that led to him falling that particular way. Who knows, speculation, whatever. But if they played an extra season, they are going to be ruined anyway. Give them a year off, and they'll be back next year.
Yeah, I think it's a case right now of you've got so many injuries in your roster, and we knew Clay was going to be out for a significant portion of the year. It was just kind of damage limitations, really. They're 1-5 at the moment. They're not sitting bottom because the Pelicans have been playing awful, so they're down there as well. But I don't think you have to rush someone like Stephen Curry back. I think you just wait now and just ride it out for the rest of the season. There's a lot of conversations about whether they should just go straight for start and tanking, but
they already are. Whether they're doing it consciously or not, they are in tank mode now.
But the lineup they put out the other night,
my word,
it was laughable. Like the starting five, I think Willie Cauley-Stein was probably the most recognisable name, if you can call him that. On the court,
it was Kai Bauman, Jordan Poole, Glenn Robinson III, Eric Pascal, and Willie Cauley-Stein. Just like, who?
Yeah, if you're NBA casuals watching and it's like, the first game on Sky Sports or something, and you see that, you're like, what on earth is going on here? But
especially because if you're a casual, you'd have been like, Golden State Warriors, they're amazing.
They must be amazing. Yeah. I can't remember who it was. Somebody shared something in the Slack channel the other day about the top 3 teams to win the championship on Sky's Facebook page or something, and I think the Warriors were third, which was obviously probably not the case right now, probably wasn't the case going into the season, but it just shows you the way that the league is sort of pushed in this country. But yeah, the Warriors and weirdly enough the Rockets right now have a lot of similarities. They've both still got quite effective offenses, but defensively they're terrible and they're giving up so many points. And for the Warriors, you just don't see a way of them stopping anyone. They're hemorrhaging points because they just don't have. They have no interior presence, and their guards on the outside may as well just be turnstiles, especially D'Angelo Russell. Like, I know he tries, but he's not getting any better on that end of the court. But he's got another question mark over his head anyway, because people are wondering whether or not he will be moved, because during the summer he was obviously floated around as going to the Timberwolves. I mean, he could still end up in somewhere like Minnesota come February, but at the moment it looks like he's just going to have to take the minutes he's going to get a lot more of and just take over the show and run with it and see if he can sort of sell himself as being sort of the next good guy. Because in theory, if Draymond comes back fully healthy and Steph comes back fully healthy and Clay comes back fully healthy next season, you've still got a very good core there, consisting of all-stars and champions, and then you just have to build some pieces around it. And the Warriors are still going to be sort of I'd still see them as a destination team with the new arena they've got and, the city that they're in. There's going to be players who want to play for them, but at the moment, I think, they're just going to have to sort of ride it out and do what they do. I don't think they will publicly admit they're tanking, but they will probably lose a lot of games, on purpose.
Do you think that it's likely that Russell gets traded this season? Because I'm not sure what the value in doing that is now, because it kind of made sense when, Clay might come back, Steph and Draymond are healthy, we can add a piece. Right now, they're just adding something to an unknown. If it was me, I'm waiting until my 3 guys are back and healthy and on the court, and then I look and say, well, this is what we could do differently. Because there's nothing to say that actually that 3-guard lineup of Clay, Steph, and D'Angelo isn't actually going to work.
No, we've got no evidence that it isn't going to work. And they had one game this season where Steph and Russell did both light it up, and we saw a sort of glimpse of what it could possibly be, obviously without Clay. But Draymond's torn ligament, like that's just something that happens to NBA players, and these guys have got incredibly lucky the last sort of 3 or 4 years where they just haven't had these type of injuries. So now they've all kind of come along at once. I think if they do trade Russell, it will probably be because they think they're going to move Draymond as well. I think you have to move them both at the same time. But if they're going to ride it out and just, wait again and reload for next season, then yeah, I don't see a reason why they should move him. But it depends on what that market is and what becomes available, like who they can get back. I mean, let's be honest, if they're trading them to the Timberwolves, I'm not sure the haul that you're going to get back from Minnesota is going to be all that great.
You won't get one individual of equal value.
No.
You get bit parts of lesser values. And then this summer, I think his price is going to go up in the summer because it's not a great free agency class. So he's going to carry through more credibility than the vast majority of the guys coming up to sign new contracts this year. So once they're on rosters and he's going to be a talent that wasn't available that summer. I think they wait it out. They play hardball with it, and then they can make a call on it. I'm not ready to rule the Warriors out just yet, though, because despite their 1-5 start, they've lost a lot of experience. They've got a lot younger. Their average age has dropped from 28.4 to 24.7. But would you care to guess, the last time they had a roster as young as this? What season that might have been, and why we shouldn't give up hope on them just yet?
Oh, you're going back to Baron Davis years, are you?
Yeah, 6-7. It's the We Believe season.
The We Believe season with
that young.
Knocking out the Dallas Mavericks.
So who knows? Maybe they make. No, they're not going to do it. I just would
Not at all.
stick a fork in them.
Your hopes are riding and dying with Alec Burks.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. They're rodent dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is, like, when we did some power rankings before the season, but we didn't actually make them public, I don't think, in the end. But we all did our individual ones, and I had the Charlotte Hornets as being the worst team in the NBA, and even they beat the Warriors the other night, and I just couldn't ever see that in my mind looking at this season. Like, even with the injuries they've got, I just still couldn't see that happening. I thought that Steve Kerr and their fundamentals would take over and they'd beat a team like that, but obviously not.
Yeah. What's your take on the sort of the reveling as well? This whole the teams are celebrating just blowing the Warriors out. Like, I'm not
maybe the Suns, because they don't blow anybody out.
Well, yeah, maybe, but I just look at it and I was like, it's all a bit poor taste for me. So I beat them when they're good, then celebrate. Don't just kick someone down when they can't do anything themselves and go, haha, we're better than you now, and because you dominated us for the last 5-6 years. It's just, I don't know. I don't think they should do it.
I guess when Steph was playing, you still had that fear that he would just go off, because we've all seen Steph Curry the last 10 years. He has moments where he will just take over a game and end it all in the space of 6 or 7, 8 minutes. But that threat has now gone, and you're looking to recreate the same threat from someone like D'Angelo Russell or Alec Burks, and you're just not as afraid of those guys as you have been. And yeah, it's quite sad looking at the state of the roster at the moment. But you can't do much about injuries in this league. Every now and then it just catches up with you.
I actually think
there seems to be a lot of them.
Long term, this season could help them, because it gives them a bit of an excuse about why it will be such a failure. But then, like you said, like next year they can come back with Steph healthy, Clay healthy, Draymond healthy, and then probably a top pick, whoever that'll be, and probably put another challenge together. And then when people look back in a few years' time at this season, obviously they've got all the built-in reasons with the injuries and stuff as to why it didn't go to plan. So it's almost what Steve Kerr asked for.
It's a massive free pass. Massive free pass for Steve Kerr.
I think more people are just really devastated, but purely from the Curry injury, because we were all expecting like some sort of MVP type, year from him, whether or not that was a realistic expectation to have from him with the team that they have and the way that the Western has strengthened and some of the Eastern teams have got a lot better. Like, I don't know if we had any right to expect that, but for him to go out with his hand, which is, that is his livelihood there.
It's his left hand though, isn't it? And he's a righty shooter, so meh. Not that concerned about it affecting his form too much.
No, but that is that you can't play with that. So you lose him for the year, and unfortunately we were all expecting greater things from Steph Curry this year, but it's not going to happen. So I mean, right now, do you see their season getting any better, or do you think this is just going to be a sort of difficult and painful one to ride out?
Yeah, definitely going to be a difficult and painful one to ride out. They're going to see a lot of empty seats that sold for a lot of money in the Chase Centre.
Oh, yeah. How bad do you think it's going to get? Do you think worst team in the West is, or NBA is too far?
No, not at this stage. Like, they've got no incentive at all for rushing the injured players back. Like, what? Let them rest up as much as possible. Draymond's not going to do anything, so he's going to gain those 26 pounds back. Steph is going to be rusty as anything. Like, they might ease him back in eventually. What was it? Being reassessed in 3 months, so not even returning to the court.
Back. I think we see a few big games from Russell, and that's about it all season.
Yeah, probably. And no one will hear about him.
No.
Well, you will, because they'll still have some kind of media following, but...
Well, that's the thing. They have a huge media presence, the Golden State Warriors. Like, there's so many Warriors beat writers. Like, what are they all going to be doing for the rest of the season?
They're going to move down to LA. All of them are just going to, 3 and a bit hours, 4 hours, just head down to LA.
Oh, I thought they'd go to Phoenix, watch the 4 and 2 Suns.
Well, yeah, option, but would you rather go to LA or Phoenix?
Oh, yeah. Well, true.
Yeah,
that wasn't the question, but...
No.
I guess, yeah, they are just going to probably just sit at the bottom of the dumpster pile for the rest of the season. Because if you look at it at the moment in the West, I'm not too sure who's going to be worse than them come the end of the 82 games. Like, the Grizzlies' defense is terrible, but there's some really talented young players on that team. The Kings have had a terrible start, but I expect them to get a lot better, especially when Bagley comes back. I don't know who's dropping. Like, the Suns are playing really, really good basketball, and Ricky Rubio and Devin Booker are getting on, which is, I don't know if it's surprising, because Rubio's not exactly a score first guard. He's a guy who facilitates to other people, and that's what Devin Booker's always. Yeah, that's what Booker's always needed, and Booker's not got the ball in his hands as much as he has done the last few seasons. And there's some good veteran pieces on there. Aaron Baines is shooting the lights out at the moment. So,
oh my God, he's got the ugliest 3-point shot. That's leaning forward, stepping in. Oh God, I don't like it at all. But fair play to him for actually being allowed to take that shot and make it. So
yeah, well, it might end up being a battle between the Warriors and the Pelicans for the 15th seed in the West.
I don't think it's going to be that. If Zion can stay healthy when he comes back in December.
Yeah. It's been weird with the Pelicans. They've still been playing well. And I still am a massive fan, but they've just not been pulling out the wins. Like, they've been close most games.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram's coming out of his shell as well, which people have waited a few years for now, and it's finally happened now that Zion's gone out injured. But who knows? There's a hell of a lot of storylines and things going on. Sticking in the West quickly, are the Dallas Mavericks for real? They're playing some fantastic ball right now. They took part in arguably one of the games, a contender for one of the games of the season against the Lakers the other night, which was just brilliant basketball. Like, if you need a showcase in the UK to show you what the sport and the league is all about, that's the one. But they're currently 4th in the Western Conference. They're 4-2, and they've lost those 2 games really narrowly. They lost the Portland game to a dodgy overturned call, which was weird. And then obviously they lost against the Lakers the other night, and that was just because LeBron James turned into the best player on the planet again for overtime. So, do you believe in the Dallas Mavericks?
I believe. Yeah, I'll throw my hat. I think they're great. I didn't think they would be this good this season, but they had the potential to be very, very good. And they're only going to get better. This core, this duo of Kristaps and Luka is just scary it's really scary watching them work a 2-man game. And Luka, it's just, how many records did he set the other night? It was ridiculous. He took records away from Jason Kidd, which anytime you do that is massive. And then he joined, what was he? He became the youngest back-to-back triple doubles.
Yeah, and then him and LeBron were the only two to have the same stat line and the same night or something, which is
And the only person whose record he beat was Oscar Robertson, who averaged a triple-double in his rookie season in the 60s. So that's pretty huge. And now he's got more triple-doubles than Magic and Jordan had at the same age, which, I mean, he's got the jump on them in terms of he started a bit younger, but still, that's mad, absolutely mad. And he looks so comfortable on the floor. Like, did you guys see the
going
two?
up against LeBron the other night? Like,
yeah,
step
he's not
back in his
fazed by
face,
anyone.
and then it's sensational to watch. Actually, the play of the game for that one for me was right in the first quarter when Kristaps was just sort of taking on AD and took the three over him, which was it's just like watching
the crossover.
It's like watching two dinosaurs going back and forth.
7-foot guards. Did you see Luka's passes against Cleveland yesterday? The overhead.
Yes,
there was an overhead bounce pass and an overhead one-handed to Boban. They were just disgusting. And then, like, if you compare he has this amazing cross-court one-handed pass, which to me looks a bit like LeBron.
Yeah,
but it fires like a laser and it's just gone. Whereas Luka's just floats it over the D into the corner, and every time he does it, I just see it hang in the air, and I'm like, pick. That's a steal. And then no defense can't get near it. His court vision and his poise for his age is it's a thing of beauty.
It's like Jokic, but as a point guard, because you watch what he does and the way that it plays, and it's just like in slow
calling
motion.
him fat.
Well, he's not the most athletic. He's not Jokic, but no, it's like he plays in slow-mo with the passes and stuff.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned the way he passes the ball, because it's almost quarterback-like in the way he sort of leaves a bit of float on the ball, whereas LeBron just is like the pinpoint laser accuracy. And I see LeBron and AD were peeing about the other night, throwing the basketball like it was a American football at the Staples Center, which was a little bit strange, but I guess the Lakers can do whatever they want at the moment. But yeah, no, Luka's just been phenomenal this season, and even though they lost that game the other night, it was basically all about him. Like, even at the end, Doris Burke was speaking to LeBron and was like, "What do you think about this young kid?" And LeBron's like, "He's a bad Emma effer." And I don't think even LeBron realized the sort of the impact he would have on young people all over the world when he first came into the league in 2003. Like, he had such a great poise for someone so young, and Luka's come in and done the same thing. And, Luka was growing up in Slovenia watching LeBron and Duncan and guys like that on telly, and now he's in the league and he's going up against them. And the scary thing is, this is just his second year in the league, and he just seems to be getting better and better. I mean, the only thing you probably have to worry about is there's a temptation for young players, especially young talented players, to try and do everything on their team. And with obviously Kristaps there, I think they have had a few little clashes to start the season. Certainly in the first game, it kind of looked like they were just taking it in turns. But I think the more we've seen them play together, especially the Portland game the other night, like they really are getting into the flow of things. And like Mike said, it's going to be really, really scary, because you're just going to have Kristaps who's run into the rim, you just throw it up there and he just throws it down. And then Luka's got the ability to take guys wherever he wants, inside, outside, off the dribble, like, catch and shoot. He's so scary, and I don't know what the ceiling is for this guy, but people are kind of picking up his sort of weakness on the defensive end, because he is what you said, he's not the most athletic of guys. He's never going to be like an elite athletic guy. But I'm not sure how much that actually affects, his game and the ceiling of his game, because he does everything at least a decent level that he will thrive in this league, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he's playing at an MVP level.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging nearly 27 a game, 9.5 assists, 10 rebounds. That's similar to what Harden did a couple of years back.
Yeah, and Kevin Love said last night, actually, after they played the Mavericks and got their asses handed to him, that he generally thinks Luka's the future of the league, like the way Luka's playing. And Luka's one of those guys where if his shot isn't falling, then he's going to get inside, he's going to score in the paint, and he's going to use his body, which isn't this toned, muscular thing. He's going to get in there and bang you and score with a layup, but he's also going to go to the free throw line when he's doing that, and he's going to rebound, and he will use his size to defend. I know he's not the greatest defender, but when you've got a body that's that size and you can move as quickly as he can, he's always going to be able to just at least keep up with people, and that's all you need to be at least a passable defender in this league.
Yeah, and I think you sort of mentioned the future of the league there. The future's now. Like, we look at these guys having MVP seasons. Player of the week, I know it's early. Players of the week in week 1, though, were Kat and Trey Young. Obviously, he's coming back from injury, hopefully this week.
Yeah.
And this week, it's Giannis and AD. Luka is up there. Joel Embiid is the oldest of that bunch at 25.
Oldest.
It's mad. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, this future generation is already up there at an elite level. We're not waiting until they're like 27, 28 anymore, and they're taking over the league now. I think the transition from the KD LeBron era is going to happen sooner than anyone sort of expecting. You mentioned Doris Burke as well, the interview with LeBron. Did you see the pre-game interview when media were talking to LeBron? And LeBron was asked what the Lakers can do to stop Luka's razzmatazz hop skiddly do.
I saw the phrase, but I didn't actually see the interview.
It's like, I'm going to have to send it to you.
Can you say that again, brilliant. But quicker?
There's razzmatazz hop skiddly do. It was brilliant. I'll send you the link afterwards. But wow, he handled it like a champ and even managed to respond. In fact, the guy kept referring to him as champ. Yeah. What a cool reporter that was. And LeBron actually managed to say razzmatazz hop skiddly do right back at him as well. So great immediate recall there from LeBron. Well, we know that she's got great recall. Didn't remember that time when he recounted every single play that happened from a single point onwards in
like Harry Potter with the glasses on. Yeah,
Rain Man or whatever it is.
Scary. I think the good thing for the Dallas Mavericks is they've actually got a really good complementary roster around these two pivot pieces, because Seth Curry is 100%. One of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Tim Hardaway Jr. is pretty good when he wants to be. Maxi Kleber's outstanding. Dwight Powell's outstanding. Like they've and Delon White, who they managed to get from the Grizzlies, he had a really good second half of the season last year after being traded from Toronto. So I think they're a smart organization. Like they've traditionally never hit on the big superstars, which we've discussed many times before, but they really threw everything in to grab Kristaps, and for some reason the Knicks let him go for not a lot in return. But they're really gonna thrive under it, because you combine these two guys and their talent levels with a good bench and some good depth, and Rick Carlisle, who is one of the best coaches in the NBA, like up there with Greg Popovich and Quinn Snyder and guys like that. I really think that they could start really scaring a few people this season, and we'll have to see where they end up in the playoffs, but they're going to be a team that's going to be there, and they're going to be physical. They're a big team. They've got a lot of length. They're going to bang people in the paint. So we'll have to see what happens. But I am believing that the sort of the early season hype with the Dallas Mavericks, I do think they're for real.
I'm all in on them. I thought if they did well, they could get an 8th seed. Now I think they could be a few seeds higher than that.
Yeah.
Having said all of that, and I'm going to apologise to one of my closest friends who's a Mavs fan. I love them, and I love Porzingis, and I love Doncic, but I'm not entirely convinced they're still a playoff team. I think they'll settle a bit, and I just think so much of it is dependent on whether Porzingis is going to stay healthy, because obviously he's incredible when he's playing, but it depends how many games we're actually going to see from him.
That's fair. You can temper my excitement with reminding me that Porzingis is basically a twig.
Yeah. But hopefully he's not a twig. But the West is so tough right now that if they keep playing the way they're playing, then they'll get somewhere. But you make any slip-ups in that conference and you're going to get found out pretty quickly, I think is safe to say. Moving over to the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers are still, as of this moment, at 8:45 on a Monday night, undefeated. And that's despite coming back from, they were 21 points down against Portland the other night, which was unbelievable. Like Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum were all over them at one stage, and then all of a sudden it just changed. And in the end, the 76ers ended up killing them on the boards, and they got, was it Korkmaz in the corner, just heaving it up after Ben Simmons had hit 2 clutch free throws, might I add. For so long, many people have gone on that Ben Simmons has never had his moment in the league, and he's traditionally ballsed up on clutch free throws, but he made
That is
those
definitely
two.
more shocking than the 3 from Korkmaz.
Yes, it was, because traditionally I think he shoots less than 60% from the free throw line, so you probably weren't putting all your all the money on him making those. But yeah, and it's weird because they've actually struggled from downtown and they've got a pretty poor perimeter defense, but it tends to be the theme this season is, and I think Terry Stott said it the other night, like teams are giving up a lot more threes this season just because of the way the league has evolved. You saw the score between the Wizards and the Rockets the other night. Like teams are just going completely bonkers from downtown, and why not? It's hella fun to watch. But I think that the Sixers are scaring people right now, like with their size and their athleticism and their sort of very high risk, high reward type of play where they're turning the ball over a lot, but it doesn't really matter if you're beating teams inside all the time and you're constantly winning your rebounds. Like, what do you guys think about the way that the Sixers have started this season? Did you expect this? Like, I know they obviously lost that devastating Game 7 in Toronto last year, but maybe people were thinking they would be a bit hungover from that, but it doesn't look like they are.
I still think I thought coming in they were going to be one of the better teams, and obviously it's happening at the moment. I just love every single piece like that Matisse Thybulle that the Celtics unfortunately missed out on and traded him away. But he's playing really well. He's getting like 20 minutes a game, but he's averaging more steals than anyone else in the league. And then obviously you've got Richardson and Horford's playing really well with Embiid out. And I'm just not sure. We said this in the pod the other day that I don't know who they can't guard. They're just so intimidating.
Well, him and Simmons lead the league. I think they're 1 and 2 respectively in steals per game, and the Sixers are leading the league in steals per game. So they're getting in there and disrupting those passing lanes, which is, when they've got the speed that they've got, they can just catch you on the fast break, and that's it. It's like if you ever play with Ben Simmons on NBA 2K. Actually, he's literally just a one-man dunk show. He will dunk over 4 people on 2K. It's slightly ridiculous. Ronnie, you might want to tone that down a little bit. Like it's a bit of a cheat move, really.
I don't know if I expected them to go undefeated this quickly and look as dominant as they have. But on the preview pod we did, I was in the same boat. In fact, I think Hugh was in the same boat as us, Tom, in that we had the finals being between the 76ers and the Clippers, and we had we had the Clippers winning, but
Clippers taking it, yeah.
But this Philly team is something else right now. And it all comes from defense. They're 4th in defensive rating, and you talk about they're not great from 3. They're 17th in the league and 23rd in percentage and whatnot. But they give up, although they give up higher than the average in terms of 3-point percentage. Their attempts is 2nd fewest in the league. They don't let people shoot the 3, forcing them to go inside and meet those beasts in there.
Joel Embiid and Al Horford, who's just having a crazy year.
Yeah, exactly. And so their simple rating, offensive versus defensive, minus defensive rating is 12.71. It's mad. Does this team actually need to shoot a 3 to win?
Probably not, no, because they can beat you inside all the time, and there's no, stopping Al Horford or Joel Embiid is a little bit of a challenge, especially because they are both guys who they can shoot the 3 or they can score inside. Like, they are, the epitome of what you need from a modern centre / power forward. But everyone's saying at the moment that the centre is gone. You've now either got power forwards playing the 5 or you've got small forwards playing the 4. Like the league is in a bit of a state of flux when it comes to positioning at the moment. But then they go out and add Richardson in the summer, who has been lights out for Miami the last few years, a real under the radar guy, and he's just come in and fit right next to Ben Simmons, and that's allowing Simmons to just do what he wants to do and not having to worry about, taking the 3 and making the 3. I know there was some videos about him making a couple in off season with nobody guarding him, like, whoop-de-doo, big deal. He's obviously not tried that much during this season so far, but they are frightening. I mean, a weird stat that I've managed to pick up is they're winning 80% of their own defensive rebounds, which is number 1 in the league, and it's quite a bit above anyone else. And they're also winning the most offensive rebounds as well. So these guys are truly just smashing people on the boards right now, and if you can't contend either of those two, there's not much you're going to do, because that whole starting 5, Tobias Harris is a pretty big guy, Richardson's a pretty big guy, Ben Simmons is a bloody big guy.
Well, their average starting 5 is 6'9.5". It's ridiculous. Richardson's the smallest guy on the court, and he's 6'7" or something.
which is it's just insane. I mean, I know they turn the ball over a lot and everything, but if you can rebound the ball like that, and then they do actually have it in the locker to knock down the three if they want to do. They are frightening. I had them go into the finals like you guys did, and I actually have Ben Simmons as a dark horse pick for MVP, which I got some stick for on Twitter. But the way he's performing so far this season, the way they're performing, I'm quietly happy right now.
It's interesting you say that, because it's traditionally we've seen Embiid struggle to play more than 60 games.
Yeah,
and he's already missed time with an ankle injury and a suspension. So there is going to, if history repeats itself, we're going to see more absences from Embiid throughout the year. So that's certainly, if the 76ers are able to continue to win in his absence, that opens the door for Simmons as an MVP candidate. But I wonder if it also opens the door for a power struggle between the two of them as to whose team this is. Because I think it was, I want to say 2, maybe 3 seasons ago, towards the end of the season, and Embiid went out injured, and in his absence, everyone wrote the 76ers off, and Simmons took him on an absolute
just
tear.
went mental, yeah.
And are we going to see a similar sort of thing here? If we do, then what does that mean for Embiid's status as the franchise guy? I wonder whether something like that, an internal political issue, might actually be their undoing as a title contender versus anything that happens on the court, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's been a long running theme between these two is like, do they actually really get along? But the way Simmons defended Joel the other night, you kind of think they might actually, be pretty good friends. And why wouldn't they be? Like, you look at the outline, the way the Eastern Conference looks at the moment, and these two plus the talent they've got around them, they've got the best starting 5 perhaps in the whole NBA right now. Maybe say the Clippers. Certainly they've got the best starting 5 in the Eastern Conference, and then they've got a bench that's more than capable of performing. Like, you should be grown up and mature enough at the age of 25, Joel Embiid, to put aside that sort of animosity and just get on and realise that if you play to the peak of your abilities and you just keep all that quiet, you're going to win titles. Like, they should win titles. This team has got a lot of talent and they've got room to get even better. The biggest worry I have for them, and I wrote this on the website the other week with an article with Hugh, was just their depth. Like, if they do have significant injuries to Joel Embiid, and if they have something happen to Simmons, even if it's a minor thing, then I think they might start struggling, because then you have to rely on guys, being big impact players. You need Tobias Harris to be what he was for the Clippers last season, and I'm not quite sure he's capable of doing that in this system. And then you need guys like Raul Neto and Korkmaz and Mike Scott to have blinders, and they're on the bench for a reason. Like, none of the guys who are on that second sort of rotation for them are starters, which is ideally what you want, because then there's no sort of clashing. You don't get a guy who's on the bench thinking he should start, so it works out better in the long run. But it could come back to haunt them should they have any injuries. But at 5-0 at the moment, and the next game's against the Suns, like, you'd imagine they'll be 6-0 by the time, probably by the time we release this podcast.
The Suns slander, having praised them up so much already this pod.
We have to get back to routine. We haven't slagged the Knicks off yet either.
Oh, there's still time. I think they're a great side. I'm intrigued to see how long they can keep this win streak up for. Because Embiid's still got 1 game left, hasn't he, suspended? So it's that one against Phoenix.
Yeah.
I want to float something that I know I'm definitely going to regret, but I've been thinking about for a while. And hear me out first. I'm not sure how I feel about Joel Embiid as a player. I do think he's top 20 definitely, but coming into the season, loads of people were talking about him being an MVP candidate, and I'm just not sure he's ever going to be that good. I feel like, sorry to anyone that's not a football fan, but to kind of make a Paul Pogba comparison.
Like me,
sorry, Mark.
I'm not going to understand this comparison.
Someone like Paul Pogba, who on his day can look really good, and then when it's not his day, which is quite often at the moment, he'll kind of drift in and out of games. I feel like it's
toys out the pram, yeah.
But with Embiid, he's got the players around to carry him. But when he's launching threes, or he's getting in fights, or not playing his game, which isn't.
The thing is, he doesn't want to launch threes, and that's part of the reason I think there could be a conflict with him and Simmons, because he has to step outside because Simmons is flat out refusing. If Simmons had his way, if Embiid had his way, he wouldn't be outside the paint. He's said many times, I don't like shooting threes.
Is that not why they went out and grabbed Josh Richardson though? Because he makes up for he can counter that. You can just sit him on the perimeter and he will knock it down.
But they let someone like JJ Redick go to get Josh Richardson, and no offense to Josh Richardson, he's not one of the top 5 shooters in the world like JJ is.
He's not, but it's a toss-up between adding the defensive capabilities you get from having Josh Richardson versus an old falling apart JJ Redick.
Overall, Josh Richardson is probably a better positive because he brings that defensive element too.
And the outlook of this team being a young team.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm just talking specifically about offense here, and Simmons' refusal to shoot threes just tightens that floor up a little bit more than it needs to. But the Embiid not being in the top MVP thing, I totally get that as well. Health wise, ability to get locked in. He said in the summer, "I'm not talking trash anymore." It's taken like 2 weeks. I worry about him when he gets the ball in the block. There's too many times last year I've seen him stripped because his handle's not tight enough. I do
like him. I think I might have just been blessed in that being a Celtics fan for the past few years. I've seen him against Al Horford, who's kind of been the Embiid whisperer. So
he's a great talent, but I think he's got a lot of work to do to be the league MVP because he's also going to have to rip the votes away from Simmons. And if Simmons is as good as we think he could be, albeit a poor man's LeBron, then he might take votes off him.
He has to rip it away from a guard or a forward as well, because usually the MVP award goes to a guard or a forward.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving has put his game into a whole different level. He's enjoying a stage that he's never really had. This is his team, and they're looking all right without Kevin Durant, but how concerning is their early season defense?
It's perfect. Like, it sums up Kyrie. He's averaging like 31 a game and they're losing, not playing very well. For me as a Celtics fan, I'm just enjoying the losing record.
I was going to say, this stage, they're 2-4. It's like, I don't get the positive spin that was implied by that. Like, he's never been given this stage before. What the ability to lose?
That's the stage is his own team. Whereas every team he has been on in the past is not his stage. You know, when he was in Cleveland,
the Celtics was supposed to be his own team.
It wasn't his stage. It was a team that was already built, and he came in and couldn't fit in.
That's what
with
they've just done in Brooklyn. He's just joined a team that made the playoffs last year.
But if you look at the Nets the last 2 or 3 seasons, they have been point guard orientated. They have always had, whether it's Spencer Dinwiddie or D'Angelo Russell, they have always been orientated around their point guard. Kyrie Irving has now fit in there perfectly because he's a ball dominant wizard, and he's just got
kind of like Isaiah Thomas in Boston.
Yeah, and he's got some freedom and flair.
It's the same thing.
It's not. They're totally different players. Kyrie Irving is on another planet.
I know they're different players, but like, it's still, to me, he has had this stage before. Every time he's had the stage to himself, and I get that
I don't think he has had the stage to himself. In Boston, there was Jason Tatum and there was a bunch of other guys around there who all wanted a part of that stage. There's no one in Brooklyn who wants that stage.
Karis LeVert?
He doesn't want that stage.
Spencer Dinwiddie?
Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't want that stage. None of them want that stage. That stage belongs to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's got a year to make the most of it.
It belongs to them. Whether the others don't want it is a different question. Because it didn't belong to Jason Tatum when he came into the league. He wanted it. He's going out and earning it. And even as recently as last season, we're asking questions about him and Jaylen Brown about whether they are, whether they are deserving of that stage. I just think there are similarities there, that Kyrie is in a situation where it's just, here, do whatever you want, which is great for him, but not great for anyone else who's playing with him or watching them.
Yeah, it's a pick and roll heavy team, which Kenny Atkinson has long had there since, during his tenure. It's always been a very pick and roll heavy offense, and it's just a very simple offense. And Kyrie Irving's the guy who's been really making the most of it, and he's thriving as a player. The team's not they're not winning, but it's early in the season. That will probably change. But I just think that this is a different stage to what he's had before. I don't think there's anybody there to take anything away from him. It's not like Cleveland where he was then about to have his stage and LeBron came back and all of a sudden, I know Kyrie had a higher usage level, but it was still LeBron's team and LeBron was doing everything. And then in Boston, it was constantly back and forth between the sort of 3-4 guys you had there. Now in Brooklyn, it is just him. And the Nets want to take a lot of threes. They want to pressure opponents on the interior with their drives, and it just works for Kyrie Irving. He just plays a 2-man game, and he's thriving with it because they never play two sort of traditional bigs together. They always have, one in the 5, and then they stretch the 4 with the 4. So I do think the stage is totally different for him right now, and I think the Nets are that they're going to once they work out what's going on, they will be a good team in the Eastern Conference.
But then there's the other thing of we were all wondering how long it was going to be before something came out about something in the locker room or his leadership or
Mental health,
and then what was it? Less than a week, it comes out Jackie McMullen and says that he's been going into funks or whatever she said, and that he don't communicate with the team, and they're already fed up of him in the locker room and stuff. And so it's exactly what we saw last year with the Celtics, but less than a week into the season, and then I don't know if the way that he plays is one where the rest of the team's going to enjoy playing with him.
The question is, can Dinwiddie and LeVert, like Mike was saying, can they be the best versions of themselves playing next to Kyrie Irving? I mean, in the long run, would it be better if Kyrie spent more time off the ball? But it's not going to happen. But at the moment, Brooklyn has given Kyrie his stage, and he is kind of making the most of it. He dropped 50 on opening night, which nobody's ever done before on a debut for a new team. And then he hit a game-winning 3, which was eerily similar to his shot he hit in the finals, but obviously not with the huge weight of Cleveland over his shoulders. So he's had some moments in those 2 games where they have won. So yeah, I think it is a different stage for Kyrie, and I've enjoyed watching it anyway.
One man's Kemba Walker.
How many Celtics fans do we have at Double Clutch? Jesus Christ.
I'm just going to go on the record because I got accused of being a Celtics fan recently. I am not a Celtics fan.
When did that happen?
Oh, someone I made a remark on Twitter a few weeks back, and a Knicks fan said, "Oh, look, another Celtics fan." I was like, nope. So, yeah.
Oh, dear. All right. Anyway, we better take an ad break and then do Games of the Week when we come back. Oh, and a mini 5-question trivia, which I've never done before, so be kind, Mike, be kind. Let's take a quick break to talk about our friends at NBAstore.eu, Europe's official online NBA store. We've teamed up with them to give you 15% off orders using the code DCPOD15.
New seasons mean new players, new jerseys, and classic drops. So why not start the season with something fresh? Just remember DCPOD15 at the checkout.
Whatever you need, from the current Nike jerseys to hardwood classics to socks and Spalding balls, NBAstore.eu has you covered like opposing coaches want their team to smother Trae Young the minute he approaches the half court.
Offer excludes sale and clearance items, but what are you waiting for? Head to NBAstore.eu now and use the code DCPOD15. Okay, so welcome back. We are now in what we are going to be calling the closeout, where we will do Games of the Week, and we will also do this mini 5-question trivia that Mike Miller's prepared for us. I'm slightly scared about this because it's all dependent on how much you've watched the past week, but we'll see how we go.
Okay. Well, there are 6 questions, but the first one's just a test, just to whet your appetite. So
why is it called mini 5-question trivia?
Well, because it was only going to be 5, but then I ended up writing 8, so I've deleted a couple.
Are we working together or are we against each other?
We'll do it. You are against each other. The quickest answer wins. If you get the answer wrong, you're then frozen out. Can you put some royalties 3 game music in the background? Like some kind of Jeopardy or
is there anything else you want from me this evening?
Yeah, all loads. Okay, so here we go.
This is going to be terrible.
Furkan Korkmaz hit the game-winning shot against the Blazers on Saturday night to ensure the 76ers remained undefeated. But how many threes did Ben Simmons attempt in the game?
0 is my guess.
There you go. That's nice and easy there. There you go. That was the practice one, so no points for anyone.
Start shooting threes, Ben.
Right, first question then. Who arrived for the Halloween game dressed as a Lego man?
Ooh.
Oh, what? I saw this on Twitter. I can't remember who it was.
I actually don't know.
Russell Westbrook.
No, incorrect. It's JJ Redick.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. I'm
God,
disappointed.
you've been keeping an eye on the pre-game, haven't you? Blimey.
Oh, yeah.
Doris Burke pre-game and all this.
Yep. Alex Caruso added to his growing cult hero status with a thunderous two-handed jam on Friday. But over whom?
Maxi Kleber.
Boom. There you go. 1-0 to Matt. Question, well, technically 3. Which NBA team has 3 number 1 picks on their roster?
Ooh.
Oh.
The Lakers.
The Lakers.
There you go.
Yeah.
AD, Bron and Dwight. Well done. So that's 1-1.
Just trying to find the third one.
Question. Where did Kat put his location as on Instagram after the fight?
Oh, I saw this.
I don't know. The Serengeti or something?
No. Frozen out, Matt.
I saw this, but I don't know.
It was all bark and no bite.
How do you even tell that?
Oh, well, it's a name of a place, apparently. And,
oh, my God, really?
Yeah. And I guess like a business. And Embiid's was Broad Street Bullies Pub. So there you go. Now, this one Matt should get. It's tied 1-1 at the minute. I think so. This is winner takes all.
No pressure.
So obviously, England lost the Rugby World Cup final on Saturday morning.
Thanks for that. Thanks.
It was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I celebrated it in fashion, not the losing, the game. I had mimosas, which was lovely. But in the pre-game video, they had what's the England player? Is he called Tom Curry? Yeah. So they had an interview with him in the pre-game. There was a scene in that where they were playing cricket on a beach.
Oh my God!
And
where's this going?
One of the England rugby team, it might have been Curry, was wearing an NBA jersey. Whose jersey was it?
Was it Curry by any chance?
No, it wasn't Curry. Frozen out. Come on, Matt.
Is it? I don't know. I've got no idea. That would imply that I was up at 7 o'clock watching the 2 hours of post-game rubbish, pre-game rubbish.
Okay.
LeBron James.
No, it
Andy
was
Davis.
Kyle Lowry.
What? How random.
White throwback Raptors jersey.
Oh,
it was a thing of beauty. And as the minute I saw that, I was like, I'm going to text this to the group. And then I was like, no. I'm going to hold this as a trivia question.
That's
in that
random.
rather eventful first round, the scores are 1-1.
Okay. We got some points. Yay.
There you go. Wasn't too bad.
No,
I mean, you did say
it
it was going to be
you've got
easy, and then you went into the 2 hours prior to the Rugby World Cup.
Well, that was
one of the England players wearing.
That was because I figured you guys would be tied at a slightly higher score, and that was to just sort of like, let's up the ante a bit. But
so we've embarrassed ourselves and let you down. Brilliant.
We'll be better next time.
Actually, reminds me of we did a quiz show 3 or 4 years ago with people. Like we used to have guests on and do quizzes, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, maybe we should probably do something like that again in the future.
Yeah,
he says. More work. Oh dear, no, that was good fun. Anyway, right, the games of the week, people. Tom Hall, what's your game of the week this week, please?
I'm going to take Philly at Denver on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the morning. I won't be watching it live, but definitely on Sunday.
That's a bit of a late one.
Or Saturday,
Mr. Miller.
Miami at Phoenix Thursday night / Friday morning at 2 a.m. The two of the hottest starts in the league from two unexpected teams with the two hottest team names.
Yeah, the Miami Heat are a problem right now. They're
Kendrick Nunn
running the ball like crazy as well. And Jimmy Butler's like, you all thought we weren't going to be very good. It's like, yes, Jimmy, we did. That's just the way it is.
I think I had him in the 7th spot, but I need to rethink that.
Yeah, they've got a lot of depth, which something that shocked me. But but I guess Myers Leonard's not going to shoot 60% on 3-pointers for the rest of the season like he has so far.
Dare you?
So far this year.
He was good yesterday with like his spin moves and stuff.
Yeah, he's had some monster moves this season. There was that huge block that the ball almost went over the half court.
Yeah, him and Phoenix Suns, Kelly Oubre Jr. Like they've been shooting the lights out, and I just can't see it continuing for either team. So, my game of the week is going to be the Utah Jazz versus the 76ers. That's on Thursday morning at 2 a.m. I just think it's two of the top teams in the NBA. The Jazz the 76ers might still be undefeated by then, and they'll be going up against a tough team. And Rudy Gobert versus Joel Embiid is always a fun one to watch, and Donovan Mitchell versus anybody on the planet is always a fun one to watch. So I think
that's going to be
depends
a big
what
one.
Mike Conley we get.
Yeah.
'Cause he's being so inconsistent.
I guess that's a luxury they have this year, though, isn't it? They can kind of they can try and lean on one or the other. But if he's going to be like that the whole year, then that's probably a bit of more of a worrying sign for the Jazz, because I think they were expecting to get something from them, but they're still like the third best defensive team in the league or something at the moment. So they're doing what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Has anyone got anything they want to shout out before we go? Anyone got any articles they're working on or secret videos or anything? That sounds dodgy.
Secret videos.
Related to basketball? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Now I've got a couple of articles in the pipeline, but I'm not going to say what they are, because then if I don't get them out for whatever reason, I can't look like a complete idiot.
Yeah, when's the anticipated date of those?
Yeah, exactly. No, I've got nothing to add. It's going to be another busy week in the NBA, though. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that there is enough random things that I can pull together 5 trivia questions next week.
Yeah. And what we're going to try and do actually over the course of the season is get you guys, the listeners, a bit more involved with things. So we are going to come out with listener questions, and we're going to try and get them out a bit earlier than we probably have done the last few weeks. If you have a question for us, you can always email them over to us at admin@doubleclutch.uk. You can also tweet myself at Matt Smashed, or you can tweet Mike Miller, or you can tweet Tom. You can tweet any one of the Double Clutch sort of staff/team, and we'll keep a record of those and sort of compile them up. And it would be really great at some point to have sort of an NBA UK mailbag, really, where we can just go through a bunch of questions and pick those apart. We do obviously try and tailor each show for the content that's happened in the week previously, and then preview some of the stuff coming up. But if there's anything specifically that you would really like us to look at, or that, you know, you're a new fan and there's something you want us to talk about a bit more in a bit more detail or depth, just give us a shout. I mean, we're here for you guys as much as we're here for ourselves, aren't we, really? So I think interactivity and being there for sort of the NBA and UK community this year is probably a big thing. Sky Sports are doing a lot of really good publicity for the league at the moment. There's a new YouTube show that's going to be starting with Mo Moonsey and some other guys are going to be on that one. Hugh's obviously been writing for them, and even like Give Me Sport and other websites, they're all really getting into the NBA over here, which is fantastic. And you know that, Mike, because you've been doing some stuff for them, so go and check that out as well.
Yeah, I have. Thank you. Was not expecting
Cheeky
that plug.
Oh, you got to get the plugs in. You know, it's difficult covering a league that everyone seems to think is stupid, because I still get, 7 years into doing Double Clutch, why do you like that? Why do you like netball? It's like, F off.
At that point, you should point out that, once again, it's the ignorance of the English that created netball in the first place, because it was actually a misinterpretation of James Naismith's original rules that created netball.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, and promptly show them the back of your hand.
I'll be sure to remember that next time. The website is doubleclutch.uk. The Twitter account is @doubleclutchuk. The Instagram's the same. Facebook is the same. Just find us and follow us and tweet us and talk to us and engage with us. It's what we're here for and what we enjoy. You can subscribe, obviously, to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Google Podcasts. It's on kind of everything. But if there is something that we're not on and that you do listen to podcasts on, please let us know and we'll do our best to get it up on there. But hopefully we'll catch you at some point next week. This has been fun. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
Cheers.